Okay, so picture this, a world saved by its greatest heroes, living in a golden age of peace. Now, what if those same heroes were the very spark that burned it all down? We're going to dive into how that paradise was completely and utterly lost.
So, how does that even happen? How do you go from saviors to the cause of a civil war? In this explainer, we're going to chart that exact path, from an age of peace to a planet just shattered by ideology and betrayal. This is the story of how the world's greatest heroes became the catalyst for its own destruction.
All right, to really get what happened, we've got to go back 20 years. Back to a time when all of humanity was facing a threat to its very existence. And it wasn't coming from the stars, but from deep, deep underground.
The Terrarian invasion back in 2004, that was a huge deal. It was a war that forced the entire globe to unite against one single enemy. And when Earth's Mightiest pulled off that victory, they weren't just heroes anymore. No, they became the undisputed guardians of all humanity, a symbol of what we could do when we all stood together. And right at the heart of it all was Stratos. He was more than just a leader, you know? He was an ideal. An alien scout? Yeah, but Earth was his adopted home, and he chose to be its greatest champion. He was this beacon of hope for a world that really, really needed one. But here's the thing. This whole heroic age was kind of built on shaky ground. See, underneath all the peace and quiet, a hidden war was already being fought. Not with punches or laser beams, but with ideas, with influence, and with a whole lot of money. You basically had two powerful secret groups fighting for the soul of the planet. On one side, you had the Board of Zion, working out of Israel with a goal of total global dominance. And on the other, the organization based in Java, Indonesia, who were trying to create harmony by blending cultures. So the source material lays out the Zionist ideology, its protocol, as this multi-step strategy for absolute control. The whole plan was to take power by manipulating everything: global finance, the media, politics, you name it, basically hollowing out nations from the inside. Now, the Java protocol was the complete opposite. It was a decentralized plan for making society better. The whole philosophy wasn't about ruling from the top, but about integrating, about supporting and improving communities from within. And this right here just nails the fundamental difference. One side wants to set up this exclusive ruling power that controls everything. The other is all about blending in, supporting local cultures, and helping them thrive. All of which is basically summed up by one simple rule: don't be an asshole. And listen, this wasn't just some philosophical debate. This was heavily funded. The US had deep financial ties to Israel that were just pouring fuel on the fire. We're talking $3.1 billion in US aid just between 1949 and 1973. And that support? It didn't stop there. It actually ramped up big time. It all led to a 10-year deal signed in 2016, guaranteeing Israel $38 billion in U.S. military aid through 2028. And you have to remember, this financial link, it's absolutely crucial for understanding what happens next. So you have this simmering conflict that's just about to boil over. And who's standing right in the middle of it all? The world's greatest hero. The very stage that made Stratos a legend was about to become the place where it all came crashing down. And the thing that kicked it all off? A PR mission. Seriously. It was called Operation Tabernacle, and Stratos was sent to basically show the world how peaceful and developed Israel was. You know, reinforce that US-Israel alliance. But what was supposed to be a simple photo op, well, it became a journey into a nightmare. And this timeline just shows you how fast a legend can fall. For years, he's the world's champion. Then, 5 years ago, on that PR mission, he uncovers something truly horrific: an organ harvesting complex processing the bodies of Palestinians. The shock it broke him. It radicalized him. He leaked this damning audio manifesto, was immediately branded a traitor, and then he was gone. In his final, desperate message to the world, he didn't hold anything back. He didn't just expose what he saw. He straight up accused his own government of being complicit. And with that one act, he shattered the public's trust in its heroes and its leaders all at once. So, Stratos is gone. That creates a massive power vacuum. And you know what they say about nature abhorring a vacuum? Well, into that empty space stepped new and frankly way more extreme factions, each with their own vision for how the world should be run.
So first up, you have the Israel First Faction. They were led by this incredibly powerful soup known as the Messiah, and he had his own team, the Shabbat Goy. Their goal was crystal clear, and they weren't compromising: establish and ensure Israeli supremacy across the entire globe.
Wow. I mean, this quote from the Messiah, it tells you everything you need to know about his mindset, doesn't it? He believed he was one of God's chosen people. So in his mind, he could do whatever he wanted. There was no negotiating. His power was a divine right.
And pushing back against him, a powerful America First movement popped up, all centered around a resurrected symbol of old-school patriotism, Sergeant Sharia. This guy, a super soldier from way back when, gets unfrozen, sees what he thinks is foreign control of his country, and his solution is, well, pretty radical. He wants to establish Sharia law to purify the nation. So you've got these two immovable forces, these absolute ideologies on a collision course. The hidden war of ideas was over. This was about to become a very, very real war, right on American soil. It would come to be known as the Second Civil War. And things went from bad to worse fast. First, the Messiah's forces just take over the White House and UN headquarters. Then came the final insult: a mandatory military draft, forcing American citizens to fight for Israel. For the America First movement, that was it. That was the last straw. Resistance just exploded into open rebellion. The war was catastrophic. I mean, we're talking major cities like New York and D.C. just reduced to rubble. But when all the dust settled, Sergeant Sharia and his Patriot forces came out on top. And the crucial point is, things didn't go back to normal. Not even close. A completely new and totally radical American government was now in charge. And that leaves us with this final, chilling thought from an operative from the organization. It really suggests that while the Second American Civil War might be over, the bigger, global, ideological war it was part of, that has only just begun. The chaos didn't end, it just moved.